Sabotage. Bernie Sanders, CNN town hall. So Bernie did another CNN town hall yesterday, and I think they did 5 CNN town halls right in a row, which is just insane. It's ridiculous. Nobody can palate that much CNN in one sitting. I'm sorry, that's ridiculous. It's something they should never do again. So just a little side note there. But like I said in the intro, sabotage was abound. So what I keep railing CNN on is their disingenuous framing. And whoo boy, we have some examples of disingenuous framing. So I'll just start with the first question. They'll come up eventually, but I don't know where they are here. But anyway, we'll start with the first question. The first question was about Medicare for All and the phase out of private healthcare companies. So Bernie, hit his talking points about Medicare for All, and how right now we have a system of severe inequality with 30 million Americans who do not have healthcare insurance, and with millions more underinsured. We have the highest prescription drug prices in the world, and we spend twice as much per capita as any Western nation does. So, once again, these are all Bernie's main talking points. Bernie Sanders, man of consistency. You're always going to hear the same thing, usually verbatim, that you heard him say the day before, and that's why I love Bernie Sanders. So he opened that up, and he said the current state of our healthcare system isn't to provide quality healthcare; it's to ensure billions of dollars in profits for the insurance companies and the drug companies. So, obviously. He also said his Medicare for All will have a 4-year rollout plan, and that's great. That sounds more than reasonable, because I hear a lot of people who support the public option saying, "Oh, we gotta go public option because the rollout in Sanders' bill isn't good enough." And it's just like, it's 4 years, man. How many years do you need? Do you need decades for this? I don't really understand how 4 years is not enough time. It's rolled out in segments per year. There's a whole new rollout every year within the context of the 4 years. I just don't know where people think they need to have more time than 4 years. I just can't seem to validate that. 4 years seems more than reasonable. So, and I've even heard plans have 2-year rollout, and that does sound a little bit skimp there. So, Sanders' Medicare for All is the gold standard. Okay, there's no one has a better Medicare for All plan than Bernie Sanders, and I think people who support the public option are gonna lose ground to Sanders. They're just gonna do it. Andrew Yang, even Tulsi Gabbard. I think Tulsi supports the House bill, but if she supports Sanders, that's great. But I think she supports that one in the House. So I think a lot of candidates are going to lose ground to Bernie's Medicare for All because it is the gold standard and it is superior to the public option that most centrists want. And the main reason why is because this Medicare for All goes furthest with, it covers dental, it covers vision, and it covers hearing, and obviously brings prices way down, recedes the need for private healthcare insurance. It just goes the furthest. You cannot beat it. I'm sorry, you cannot beat it. And once again, Bernie says healthcare is a human right and not a privilege. Like it's a human. Healthcare is a human right, not a privilege. Okay. On to the next question. This is the one. Here's disingenuous framing. The question was basically, should felons in prison be given the right to vote? Felons including the Boston Marathon bomber and, inmates who are in for sexual assault, who could have a direct impact on women's rights with their vote. And Bernie didn't answer it right away. He went into some other thing where he just didn't answer it directly. He started talking about how he wants a vibrant democracy with a higher voter turnout. That would include people who are in prison. Okay, and he also talked at length about how Republicans in New Hampshire and abroad in America are going to bat against voting rights in America. So it's intrinsically important to protect voting rights for all people, even the unsavory ones, even the ones who have committed evil, horrible crimes. We have to protect their right, whether we want to or not, if we want to maintain a vibrant democracy. Okay. And he said, constitutionally, everyone should be given the right to vote. Okay, so he broadened it out a little bit. And the right to vote, he said, the right to vote is inherently given to us in our democracy. Okay, I can't read my own writing. Even to people who've done horrible things. Okay, so once again, let's go back to the framing. So this was asked by a woman. She was, okay, it just seemed like a really set up question for a woman because, and she mentioned sexual assault and stuff like that. And if they can frame Bernie in the context of look what Bernie just did. He just came out and said people who assault women should be able to vote. Can you believe that? When really it's a broader picture than just these two people she mentioned, the Boston Marathon bomber and people who were accused of sexual assault. So look at the framing. Just look at the framing here. That's all I'm asking you to do is look at the framing here and ask if that's fair to bring that up when it's really about everybody who's in the prison system. Okay. The lowest level offenders to the highest. Okay. But they had to isolate that to frame him, to trip him up, to make him look less favorable to women. Okay. Please understand this is the Clinton News Network. Okay, CNN is the Clinton News Network, and this was like the most egregious, disingenuous framing I've seen to date on CNN. It was just absolutely stunning and ridiculous. So I'm going to move on from that crap. Okay, reparations were brought up. The question was, if reparations are not a part of your plan to bridge the wealth gap for black people, what is? Okay. So Bernie's been getting crap about reparations lately because they want to attack him from all sides. So, okay, they're going to attack him on this issue. But Bernie brought up that he supports legislation from his colleague in Congress, Sheila Jackson Lee. And he said if he was president and the House and Senate passed that bill, he would sign it. Okay. And this would call for a study of the implications of reparations. So that sounds like a fine starting point. You got to get the studies going. You have to get the estimates going. You have to just nail all that stuff down. That's how you get it started. He said he would support it. That's it right there. So, and he went on to discuss how black families have 1/10 of the wealth of white families. He's making this a talking point in the last few town halls. And, Bernie's making this a priority in his platform. People are just trying to say Bernie's anti-black or just anti-woman or because something happened with a woman in the past or something like that. Absolutely grasping for straws here against Bernie Sanders. It's really ridiculous. It's beyond disingenuous. I know most progressives, if not all progressives, can see it. But the people who are a little bit more politically not astute, maybe they're a little more, they're just not political junkies like me and you who can just read that. We know what that is. So maybe those people will get tripped up on this stuff and they'll buy the framing. But obviously we're not going to, and it's up to us to speak out about it. So I'm also going to ask you to speak out about it to your friends, to your family, to your coworkers, about this sort of thing. Share this video. I'm gonna continue. It's getting kind of long, so I'm gonna go to part 2 here. I'm gonna make another video and potentially a part 3. So if you like what you see here, like, share, subscribe, and leave me a comment down below.